he's 12-10. If he was 15-7, you would say okay, or 16-6. That's how he's pitched. Now here's Kuroda's 1-2, and the pitch is lined to left field. There's a base hit. That pitch was up, and so Fuld went with it and lined it to left field. And you can imagine that Fuld will be running. He has stolen 7 out of 8.
And Fuld did the right thing, just like his counterpart, the leadoff hitter Derek Jeter, did from the other side in the first inning off of Matt Moore.
That was the sinker. It broke, but the ball was up, so Fuld had a very easy time to hit it to left field. Now here is Desmond Jennings. He's at .254, 12 homers, 41 RBIs. A right-hand hitter. Kuroda holds the set. And now steps off. And one thing, the way the Yankees have been playing, this goes for a long stretch, that you fear every run because the Yankees haven't been scoring. A-Rod in at third to guard against the bunt, and there is a bluff of a bunt, and the pitch, a slider outside, and the count 1-0.
See, the top of this order with Fuld and Jennings, as it was with Jennings and Upton yesterday, you know, Jennings can bunt. He can also hit it out. He's got 12 home runs. And they'll do anything to score runs, this team.
Yeah, they're very good at it, no question. And it'll be a 1-0, first to throw to first to check on Fuld. Jeter and Cano shade Jennings up the middle. They really are in double play depth, equally spacing from second base. The outfield straightaway. Now Kuroda holds the set high and deals, and there is the bunt up the first baseline. Pierce tags Jennings on the way by. So they sacrifice right away. Very unusual. And you know why they're doing it? Because they know the Yankees aren't hitting. They want to get a run. So there's a sacrifice. 3 unassisted. And on to second goes Fuld.
Well, that was a kind of a dangerous play by Steve Pierce because Nix was there, and he decided to take the ball himself and tag Jennings, who really almost ran right by him. Nix would have been there. But it worked, so.
A runner at second, 1 out. Now here's Ben Zobrist at .266, 16 homers, 56 RBIs. Jeter plays in back of the Fuld lead, and the pitch, breaking ball strike. Susan, I'm very surprised. I mean, I know Tampa plays this way, but you never sacrifice like that in the first inning, and that just tells you they want to get the lead against the Yankees. I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either.
Just a little bit of unusual strategy. It'll be an 0-1 to Zobrist. Switcher to batting left. Kuroda to the plate, and the pitch is grounded foul outside of first. Now the count 0-2 on Zobrist with Evan Longoria on deck.
I would think that would describe Joe Madden. A little unusual. They kiddingly call him the mad scientist here. There's different lineups and the different way he plays and people coming in and out. It's worked for him, though. It sure has.
It'll be an 0-2 to Zobrist. Well, one thing, though, we mentioned this on the air the other night. It does work for him, and I think he does a great job. But the reason it works is their pitching is so good. They hold you down, and then they scratch out runs here and there and win their share of games. It'll be an 0-2 to Zobrist. Fuld leads off second. Jeter right behind the lead. And Kuroda now deals, and that's fouled off. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better. TV, internet, and home phone. Time Warner Cable. That's splitter at 86 miles an hour. Kuroda throws fairly hard. He throws around 92 with his good fastball. But basically what he does is keep the ball down on all of his pitches. And the 0-2 is inside. And the count 1-2. And there's a lot of pressure. First of all, there's a lot of pressure because the Yankees have blown a 10-game lead and now tied for first with 27 to go. Also a lot of pressure because they're not scoring. It's different if they were scoring runs. That'd be a 1-2 to Zobrist. Garota steps off. Zobrist steps out. And the outfield exactly straight away for Ben. And here is Carota's 1-2. It's low. The sinking fastball. That clocked at 93. That's a pretty good sinker. Oh, the count 2-2. But better it be low and out of the strike zone than up like it was to full. That's very easy to hit.
Fans come out to the stadium on Friday, September 14th, when the Yanks take on these Rays. First 18,000 guests 21 and older receive a plastic Yankees mug, courtesy of Budweiser. Log on to Yankees.com.
The 2-2 strike 3 is called. You know, Zobrist must have been looking something else. He took a fastball on the inside corner, and he walked right away from the plate. He was probably looking for the breaking ball, the splitter. And you know, another thing about his two-seamer, it bent all right. So when it bent right in the middle of the plate. So there are 2 away. In other words, he aimed it on the inside, but didn't get it all the way in. And I just saw that on the replay, and it bent right over the middle of the plate, but Zobrist wasn't looking for it. Here's Longoria with 2 outs and a runner at second, a right-hand hitter. And the pitch, there's a breaking ball strike. Longoria, 287, 10 homers, and 38 RBIs. Last night, Garcia threw a pitch in. It was up. It was a mistake, but it was in. And he got through that ball so quick and hit it out in left center. Pitch way outside, another slider. And the count 1-1.
And Longoria, it's not that he's been, really lining up the chart since he's gotten back, but the team has. The team is 19-9 since Longoria returned from the DL with his torn hamstring. Just his presence there, whether he's DHing or playing third base, just right in the middle of the lineup, it just changes things.
Now Carota will deal 1-1. And the runner, Fuld, leads off second. Pitch is grounded to the right side and through. It's a base hit to right field. Fuld scores. Longoria singles in the open hole. And the Rays take a 1-0 lead.
Look, he's about as good a hitter as there is. He knew exactly what to do with that pitch. He saw that the first base side was open. He knew who was standing at second base, and Sam Fuld was going to score easily. He took that pitch, went the other way. He actually bounced it off the turf, and it went in between Pierce and Nix. There's no way that either one of them was going to get it. And immediately it's 1-0. So Madden did what he wanted to do, John. Move the runners and gets it in.
He bunted the runner up, and Longoria bounced a single through the open side. Nix was shading him toward the middle, the way you do for many right-hand hitters. And Longoria took advantage of, well, it's 1-0 Tampa. Here's Matt Joyce, a left-hand hitter, and he swings and misses, and the count is 0-1. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it is.
So Fuld singled. They sacrificed him, and after Zobrist struck out, Longoria bounced a single through the open side, and Tampa has a run. And as I say, not a big thing, a run. But it's a big thing when you don't score, and the Yankees aren't scoring. Here's the 0-1, fouled off, and the count 0-2. Good job of hitting by Longoria. He now has 39 RBIs. He tried to do that. So it'll be an 0-2. Joyce at 253, 15 homers, 51 RBIs. And the 0-2. He struck him out swing on a splitter. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left at the end of 1-0 Tampa on the Yanks radio network, driven by Jeep. John Sterling, Susan Wellman back at the Trop in St. Pete. 1-0 Tampa. To the top of the second, and the left-hander Moore deals to A-Rod. And the pitch is low on the count 1-0. Alex at 275, 15 homers, 44 RBIs. Here's the 1-0. God, I missed. Tonight's game presented by your local tri-state area Audi dealers. Visit your nearest Audi dealer now during the Summer of Audi event. Now here's the 1-1. Cut on, missed it. And the count 1-2. It'll be A-Rod, then Russell Martin and Curtis Grandison. The Yanks have two lefty hitters in Cano batting third and Grandison hitting sixth. There's the 1-2, and it's wasted low and in the count 1-2. One thing I think the Yankees could have done and maybe should do, if you're going to shade the second baseman up the middle, which you do for most right-handed, especially good ones like Longoria, you really have to play your first baseman wide because you got to take away that hole. Here is the 2-2. God, on a miss, on a breaking ball, one away.
Well, that, one of the things that Alex has to get back to is that getting away from that really long swing. He hasn't played in a long time, and he's back to that really long swing that he's got with the too high leg kick. That'll even out, should smooth out as he plays more games. Not that they have a lot of games left.
Here's Russell Martin. Again, he's on the precipice of 200. He's been trying to get there all year. He's at 199. 14 homers and 37 RBIs. And the pitch is low. Now, when Teixeira comes back and you pitch a lefty, then your top six hitters are set, whatever combination Joe wants. Jeter, Swisher, Cano, A-Rod, Teixeira, Grandison. And here is the 1-0. Caught on him. And the count 1-1. One nothing Tampa. We're in the top of the second with one out and no one on. And here's the 1-1. It's inside and low on the count 2-1. The strikeout was the second for Moore. Now here's the 2-1. Up high fastball, 3-1.
The Rays did with Matt Moore what they did with Evan Longoria. Longoria signed a huge contract before he ever played a game. Matt Moore, they did the same thing. Last year, at the end of the year, they signed a 5-year contract.
3-1. Swung on a high pop around second. Zobrist waiting for it just on the edge of the turf in the outfield, makes the catch. And there are two away.
So he signed a 5-year, $14 million contract, and it's got multiple club options, and it could go through the free agency period. So this is what Tampa Bay has done when they see someone that is so good, like Longoria, like Matt Moore. They get them locked up. That's the way that they're trying to survive. But they're not going to survive here, John, if they get 11,000 people every night. That's a shame because this team is fun to watch.
Especially against the Yankees. Yeah. And they're closing in on first place. Here's Grandison. And the fastball's outside, 1-0. It's a good deal. The player gets security. He may not get as much as he would if he waited to free agency. But the player gets security, and the team locks him up for a quote-unquote reasonable price. Cleveland did that in the 90s with a lot of their players. That'll be a 1-0 to Grandison. 2 outs, no one on. And there's a fastball strike. Count 1-1.
And John Hart was really the first one to do that, the general manager of Cleveland, with Manny and...
There's the 1-1. Count on him. Grandison at 233, 34 homers, 79 RBIs. He's really in a slump. He's 3 for his last 29. Here's the 1-2. He struck him out swing on a breaking ball. 1-2-3 go the Yanks at the end of an inning and a half. It's 1-0 Tampa Bay on the Yanks radio network, driven by Jeep. Yankee Are you planning ahead for senior living? I've been to Riverwalk at the Hebrew Home in Riverdale. It is terrific. Kind of like a Northeast College campus right on the banks of the Hudson. The room's something out of a first-class hotel. They have this extensive senior lifestyle. Give a call to 800-56-SENIOR or visit HebrewHome.org. Well, we go to the bottom of the second inning. It's 1-0 Tampa. Fulled single. He was sacrificed to second and scored on a 2-out single by Longoria. Here is left-hand hitting Luke Scott to lead it off. Scott at .223, 12 homers, 46 RBIs. And the pitch is inside. Scott not having a good year. He's a home run hitter. He has very good power. Nix plays him about 5 steps out on the outfield part of the turf. No double play in order, so he can play as far out as he wants. Here is the 1-0. A high pop off first, going to make the seats and back to the Tampa dugout. No, the count 1-1.
And Luke Scott went through about as bad a slump as you can go through. He was 0 for 41 at some point. He's been on the DL a couple of times. But he's still got enough home runs. Doesn't have a lot of at-bats. Scoreboard update sponsored by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. On the web at searchmercedes.com, your source for everything Mercedes-Benz.
Here is the 1-1. It's grounded weakly toward the mound, third base side. Kuroda fields and throws. One away. A nice play by Kuroda. It was a chopper, probably off the plate. And Kuroda had to run it down, whirl and throw, which he did. One away.
In the American League, White Sox beat the Twins 6-2, so they're keeping on winning. Alex Rios had homers number 21 and 22. Angels beat Oakland 7-1. Danny Herron beat Brandon McCarthy, so they're making it a little bit closer. Detroit leading Cleveland 2-0. Bottom of the second at Comerica. Ubaldo Jimenez against Doug Fister. In Toronto, it's already 2-0 Baltimore. They're in the second inning. Adam Jones just hit his 27th homer. Miguel Gonzalez against Brandon Morrow.
A line drive base hit by Keppinger to right field. Little inside-out swing. He's a good hitter. Keppinger, right-hand hitter, was at .329. 6 homers and 31 RBI. So there's a base hit. Kuroda got the pitch up. And Keppinger went with it. A little inside-out swing. So there's a runner at first with 1 out. And that will bring up the switch-hitting catcher, Jose Lobaton. Lobaton, a switch hitter, but when he faces Kuroda, he's only going to play or hit from the left side, and he's hitting 180 as a left-hand hitter. Obviously much better as a right-hand hitter. Keppinger, not a base runner, leads off first. And the pitch is low. A breaking ball blocked by Martin.
Texas and Kansas City at 8. Ryan Dempster against Everett Chiefert, and it'll be Aaron Cook against Kevin Millwood as Boston is in Seattle. In the National League, couple of finals. Phillies beat Cincinnati 6-2. Roy Halladay beat Mike Leake. Mets beat St. Louis 6-2. R.A. Dickey gets his 18th victory. Adam Wainwright takes the loss. Ike Davis, homer number 26. Adam Wainwright had his first.
Keppinger a short lead with 1 out in the second inning. It'll be a 1-0 to Lobaton. There goes the runner. The pitch cut on and fouled. They play hit and run. You're seeing how Madden's Rays play. And Keppinger's not a base runner at all. But they wanted Lobaton to put the ball in play. They were ahead on the count. And so if he hits a ground ball, he gets a runner to second. And you get one more shot at it to knock him in with a single.
Washington leading the Cubs 1-0, bottom of the second at Nationals Park. Chris Volstead against Gio Gonzalez going for win number 18. Pirates lead Houston 2-0, bottom of the second in Pittsburgh. Fernando Abad against Kevin Correa. No score. Milwaukee at Miami, bottom of the second.
That'll be a 1-1. And the pitch inside, the count 2-1.
Colorado and Atlanta, they're through 1. There is no score there at Turner Field. San Diego and the Dodgers in Arizona at San Francisco later.
Here, the Rays have a 1-0 lead, bottom of the second inning. Keppinger, the runner at first with 1 out. It'll be a 2-1 to Lobaton. And a quick throw to first base. Keppinger is back. I don't think Keppinger has a stolen base. Let's see. He does. He has one.
Well, everyone. Jose Molina's got 3.
But I think they start him, when something good happens, the ball is dropped by the catcher or whatever. There'll be a 2-1. There goes the runner. Pitches line to center. Back goes Granderson, away back. It's over his head, and it's one hop to the center field wall. Keppinger goes to third. They'll hold him there on the double by Lobaton. So they sent the runner. Pretty good hit and run. He hit a bullet to deep center over Granderson's head. And it one hop the wall, and the Rays have second and third and 1 out.
I think Granderson fooled Keppinger because there was no way he was going to get that ball, but he looked like he was going to get it. So Keppinger slowed down, thinking Granderson had a shot at it, and he really didn't.
Now the Yankees, this is how badly they think of their offense. The Yankees bring the infield up, something you never do early with runners at second and third. And the reason is because if you hit a ground ball that trickles through, 2 runs score instead of 1. And the Yankees can't afford to fall further behind. I like the move. Now here's Elliott Johnson, who is a good lefty. He's a switch hitter, but a good left-hand hitter. Second and third, 1 out, and the pitch is inside. Johnson at 246, 5 homers, 31 RBIs. But he's only going to bat lefty against Kuroda, and as a left-hand hitter, he's hitting 284. Oh, a base hit will score 2, and the Yankees bring the infield up. When you bring the infield up, you don't have any range. If the ball is not hit at you, you can't possibly get it. So it's a gamble, there's no question. There'll be a 1-0. Well, the Yankees feel they're not going to score a lot of runs, and they have a right to feel that way, and that's why they've brought the infield up as early as the second inning.
Also, it shows you what they think of Matt Moore. They're not scoring runs anyway, but this kid's pretty good.
Runners lead second and third, 1 out. And here's the 1-0. There's a strike. The count 1-1. Yeah, it tells you what all these numbers we give you mean. They mean so little. I mean, after all, Lobaton was hitting 180 as a left-hand hitter, and Kuroda's an awfully good pitcher. When he hit some shot to center field. There'll be a 1-1. And the pitch. There's the bunt. Kuroda feels it, though. Holds the runners, throws to first in time. That was the safety squeeze, and it was bunted right at Kuroda. Now, that's how Tampa Bay plays. You've seen their book in the first 2 innings. That's how they play. So 2 outs. Now the infield can go back to normal depth, and that will bring up Sam Fuld.
Good play, just not executed well. Went right to Kuroda. Hit it too hard. If that stops on the circle, you got a different kind of play right there.
And 1 out. Normally the runner from third goes on contact. But it's a good thing that Keppinger didn't go because he would have been thrown out. So here's Sam Fuld, who singled to left his first time. Runners lead second and third with 2 men out in the second inning. Oh, this is a big out in the game, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Only in the second inning.
And Kuroda deals strike breaking ball. Let's see, there have been 2 bunts, one a sac bunt, the other didn't work. There've been a hit and run. And that's what Tampa does. They say, we're going to pitch great and we're going to scratch out runs. That'll be an 0-1 to Fuld. Kuroda holds the set and deals low outside. The count 1-1. In this case, Kuroda can throw his best pitches. Because even if he walks Fuld, he has a right-hand hitter coming up next in Desmond Jennings. Now, if Kuroda falls behind, he doesn't have to give in to Fuld. Fuld is a line drive hitter, single sitter. The runners lead second and third, 2 out. The 1-1 just missed the outside corner. Tried to backdoor the slider, and so the count 2-1. I don't mean to be too dramatic, but boy, is this a big batter in the game. Now Martin goes out to talk to Kuroda.
Sam Folder, we know his story. He's already 31 years old, minor leaguer, played with the Cubs, was in minor leagues a long time, out of Stanford. His mom's a state senator in New Hampshire, from Durham, New Hampshire.
A Stanford man. The Harvard of the West.
Yes. He went to Phillips Exeter Academy. Dad's a professor.
Here's the 2-1. Grounded foul.
Dad's a professor and the mother's a state senator in New Hampshire. And he went to Stanford. He's playing baseball. I think if this baseball thing doesn't work out, he's got a future someplace else.
I would think so. Now, Kuroda, even on the count 2-2, he needs one good pitch to get out of this jam, and it is a jam because a base hit means 2. Now, the right-hander is set to go, and the 2-2 hit on the ground weakly to second. Nix fields and throws to first. Kuroda pitches out of a big jam. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. Now, at the end of 2 innings of play, 1-0 Tampa. On the Yanks radio network, driven by Jeep. Now to the third. So the Yankees escape. They're down just 1-0. Here's the bottom third. Jones, Pierce, and Nix, all right-hand hitters. Andrew hitting at just .201, 13 homers, 31 RBIs. And there's a strike. Good fastball. He got a lot of giddy up on the fastball. Here is the 0-1. And there's a strike in the count 0-2. Yeah, one thing, frankly, with Jones and Steve Pierce is up next. Even though they're low average hitters, the Yankees are hoping they, as they say, run into one. And the 0-2 is wasted high fastball in the count 1-2. Now the lefty deals. There's a breaking ball low inside, and the count is 2-2. You know, they don't, we mentioned this the other night, they don't play all the sound effects when the opposing team is up. Here's a 2-2. Strike 3. They're a great change. He got them all. And he throws it when you're not expecting it. That was a great change. And now, if Jones was looking for it, he would hit it. But he wasn't looking for it. Let's look at it.
Boy, and it's terrific. And you look at his arm action. He's got a lot of deception anyway coming from the left side. And you can't tell the difference from the arm action, whether it's that fastball or change. You can't look for the change, John, right? Because then he throws that 95-mile-an-hour fastball by you.
Here's Steve Pierce, and there's that fastball for a strike at 95, exactly what you called. Pierce, this year, with a couple of teams hitting a 244. And the 0-1, caught on it, missed. 78 at bats, 244, 3 homers, 14 RBIs. Only had 7 at bats as a Yank. He's behind on the count 0-2. And the pitch, strike 3 is called. That is the 5th Yankee to strike out. There only been 8 batters. And one of them singled Jeter, erased in a double play. So Mr. Moore is off to a heck of a start.
You know, he must have, and we can't tell from up here or even on the monitor, he must have not only great deception, but that ball must really move and have a lot of late life. Because that's not straight at all. You can see it moving. And the way they're swinging, they're not even having good swings at it. They're missing by a lot.
Now here's Jason Nix. He's at 260, 4 homers and 16 RBIs. And there is a strike. And you know, nothing Moore is doing. I told you he's averaging 4 walks per 9. I mean, not averaging any walks tonight. He's throwing strike after strike. When he misses, he's 0-2. And the 0-1 is a breaking ball fouled at home plate, 0-2.
So that's the other thing. You know, everybody says, I'm hearing fans saying, you know, they don't work the count. They don't know anything. Guy's throwing 95 and he's throwing strike 1 and strike 2. If you try and work the count and wait, you're 0-2 like this.
So 0-2, he may waste a pitch. He has been. And the 0-2 is a breaking ball low in the count 1-2.
You know, Greg Maddux, and I've heard everybody say that, talk about waste a pitch just in case it goes. Greg Maddux thought that 0-2 was the most vulnerable a hitter was, and he hated to waste pitches. He didn't agree with that at all. It's the only one I've ever heard talk about it really at length.
1-2 is low. The only thing I would say to that is Greg Maddux had this unbelievable ability to thread the needle, so he could put the ball on either side of the plate, just off the plate.
True.
And it was a heck of a pitch. That was Greg Maddux.
It was Greg Maddux, yeah. I don't remember him talking about it.
The 2-2. Swung on, pop foul, first base side. It'll make the seats. Well, the count holds at 2-2.
Yes, it wasn't Steve Smith or
right.
Joe Birdbath talking
right.
about that. Although Joe Birdbath was pretty good, too.
Tough competitor. Nick steps out. 2 outs, no one on. We're in the top of the third. And Tampa has a 1-0 lead. And the lefty deals. Breaking ball, cut on a miss. Struck him out. He struck out 6 men in 3 innings. And one thing you know right now, Kuroda better pitch a heck of a game to keep the Yankees close. The 3-up, 3-down, he struck out the side at the end of 2.5. 1-0 Tampa on the Yanks radio network, driven by John Sterling, Susan Wallman back at Tropicana to the bottom of the third. 1-0 Tampa. Kuroda deals. Cut on a missed. Jennings takes the slider in the count 0-1. Moore has had an unbelievable 3 innings. He has struck out 6 out of 9. Actually, 6 out of 8. Jeter singled, but a double play erased the runner. Here's the 0-1, and it's low in the count 1-1. Moore looks like he has just complete control of all 3 of his pitches. And here is the 1-1. And the pitch low on the count 2-1. When Jason Nix struck out to end the top of the third, that was the 15th out of the game, and Geico reminds you that 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And there's the 2-1. Broken bat pop foul into the seats, first base side of home plate. And Jennings was left with a handle, only the handle. Now let me get back to Geico. Geico reminds you that 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit them at geico.com.
For the game today, Brian Cashman, general manager, who's been here, said to the writers, well, Yankees, we intend to win the East. It's going to be a heck of a ride, so Yankees are going to sprint to the finish. That's what they're going to do, so says the general manager. The
2-2, a high pop in back of second. Nix in the outfield, and Jason makes the catch, and there is one away. Well, I know that the talk shows, the newspapers and all are talking about panic and this nosedive and all that. The players aren't like that. They just have to figure that they're going to get hot and start winning some games. They have to believe in themselves. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. Here's Zobrist, and the pitch is low. No question, though, that they are as cold as ice right now. That all changes. There's a baseball cliche to cover it. Here's the 1-0 to Zobrist. And there's a strike. And I've heard this since I was a kid. You're never as good as you look when you're winning or bad as you look when you're losing, and the Yankees have to believe in that. There'll be a 1-1. Zobrist, the switch hitter, batting left. And the pitch is low. They check third. Tony Randazzo said no swing. Tony and Joe Girardi had a nice tete-a-tete last night.
That's really funny. Girardi wouldn't talk about it at all. I'm not going to comment on what happened. He kicked him out of the game last night.
The 2-1, grounded to first. Pierce in back of the bag. Fields goes to the bag, and there are 2 away.
Why I thought it was strange is that everybody went to see Tony Randazzo and crew chief Brian Gorman after the game, and he said, well, it's just, he mouthed off to me arguing about balls and strikes, and you kicked him out of the game. But Joe wouldn't talk about it at all, which I thought was odd.
Now, 2-way, here's Longoria, and this time the Yankees do what we thought they might do. Pierce plays way wide at first. The pitch is strike. Much tougher for a right-hand hitter. He can do it. Hit the ball over the bag at first. Easier for him to hit the ball in the first base hole. And that's where Pierce is. Where Nix is playing Longoria, shading him up the middle. And Evan takes a pitch inside. And the count 1-1. Longoria hit a ground ball, weak ground ball through the open side. Just about where Chris Jimenez hit the ground ball the other night. And it scored the only run of the game. Here's the 1-1. Fouled at home plate. The count 1-2.
Yeah, there's something about Kuroda that I think has to give you a sense of calm. He has been the Yankees' best pitcher, I think, most consistent pitcher all year. After that game in Toronto, in I think it was early to mid-May, where he gave up 7 runs. After that, he really settled down nicely and pitched great the rest of the way.
The 1-2 is high. Longoria takes a seat, but the ball was really over the plate but high. And the count 2-2. Two outs, no one on, bottom of the third, 1-0 Tampa. Now here's Kuroda's 2-2. That's a breaking ball in the dirt. And the count 3-2.
We'll keep you appraised of what's going on in Toronto, and Toronto has tied up Baltimore, so 2-2.
You know, I told Susan this when we got here last night. Now, this doesn't involve teams like the Yankees who lost because they were playing a team that's in the pennant race. But there were 6 teams last night, and baseball is different than every other sport. There were 6 teams. Here comes the payoff to Longoria. Swung out, hit on, 1 hop to short. Jeter fields and throws across in time. There are 6 teams battling for either the division lead or the wild card, and they all lost to 6 teams that are totally out of the pennant race or wild card race. And baseball is just a different sport. So 1-2-3 for Kuroda. Now at the end of 3. It's 1-0 Tampa Bay on the Yanks Radio Network, driven by Jeep.
Curtis Granderson. You're listening to the radio home of New York Yankees baseball, WCBS 880.
Well, we go to the 4th. It's 1-0 Tampa. Ichiro sitting out tonight, but still, we want you to enjoy today's game with an ice-cold Sapporo beer. Japan's original, and like Ichiro, it's a big hit. Please enjoy Sapporo beer responsibly. Here's Jeter. They've been the only Yankee base runner, a clean line single to right, his first time. And the lefty deals, and there's the breaking ball inside. I would say that probably a scouting report on Moore would say that all 3 of his pitches are top-rate pitches. The 1-0, there's a strike. And so he mixes up, obviously, fastball. That was 95. The curve and the change. He's tough. If he's throwing strikes, he's really tough. The 1-1. It's grounded foul off Jeter's foot, and he kind of limps around. Now the count 1-2 to Derek leading off with Swisher and Cano on deck.
Well, you can really see why they're so excited about this 23-year-old. They just keep bringing him. Scouting and development. It's not just scouting, and they've been pretty good now for a few years. And he was just signed in, 2008, I think?
There is the 1-2. Swung on, a little pop-up to shallow center, and that ball is going to be caught. No, it's dropped. Yankees got a break. Zobrist, or rather Johnson, dropped the ball in shallow center. He had it. And the ball just came out of his mitt at the last minute. We'll see how they score. It doesn't matter how they score it. Yankees had the leadoff man on.
Well, they scored it a hit. I'm not quite sure why. He had it in his glove. I know it was a very tough play, but he had it in his glove. He had it, and when he closed the glove, it popped out.
So the Yankees got a break. Jeter gets his second hit. And here is Nick Swisher, who struck out his first time. And the lefty Moore throws over to first to check on Derek. Maybe Johnson dropped it, Susan. Maybe. Because maybe he heard the footsteps of Fuld running in, the center fielder. Because he had the ball. Pitch. Swung on and hit in the air to right. Joyce back a step or two to make the catch, and there's one away.
Well, also, I think, it's easier for Sam Fuld to get in there. He's really, really fast. I think he probably would have gotten there.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I think it's always better for the outfielder coming in.
Johnson either didn't hear him. That probably was it.
So 1-on-1 out, and here is Cano grounded into a double play his first time. And Moore deals, and that pitch inside, the count 1-0. For the most part, Moore has been ahead of all the hitters. Now, Cano steps out as Moore was taking a little too long. 1-on-1 out. We're in the top of the fourth. The Yankees have had two base runners, and they're both named Jeter. The pitch is low in the count, 2-0. So Cano jumps ahead on the count. Jim Leland said something when the Yankees were in Detroit. He said, you can beat the Yankees, but you got to keep them in the park. And boy, the Yankees hoping that Cano hits one. Or the guy on deck, A-Rod. So Cano ahead on the count, 2-0. Now he can look for a pitch, 2-0. And takes inside fastball on the count, 3-0.
That's a very telling statement, isn't it?
Yes.
You got to keep him in the park.
And the Yankees have not been hitting him out. Cano hit a 2-run home run the other day. But those are the only runs they scored. Well, it'll be a 3-0 to Cano. Now let's see how Girardi plays. He turns a lot of his hitters loose, just in case they get a cookie down the middle. The 3-0. There's a strike. He was taking all the way. And the count 3-1.
That was a cookie down the middle. It just happened to be a 94-mile-an-hour fastball with a little bite.
See here, you really don't know 3-1. You think it's a fastball count. He can throw his curve or his change, which is why he's such a good pitcher. Yankee fans are making some noise. Again, Cano steps out. Here's the 3-1. It's in the dirt, ball 4.
Well, and here comes Jim Hickey, because this is the one thing. John said he averages 4 walks a game. This is the one thing that Matt Moore has to be careful of, and this is when you can get him, because he gets a little not wild. He's not wild. He's just missing. So Hickey out to talk to him.
And this is the rally moment of the game, sponsored by Rally BMW, located at 1 Brush Hollow Road in Westbury, or online at rallybmw.com. BMW makes the cars, and Rally makes the difference. So Hickey has had his say. He'll trot off. And Zobrist goes back to short. Elliott Johnson back to second. And Lobaton behind the plate. Now, the Yankees have 2 shots at it, and I don't want to be overly dramatic, but how many chances are you going to get off this guy? So they have 2 shots at it with 2 right-hand hitters, Alex Rodriguez and then Russell Martin.
And quite frankly, unless he has another inning like this is your chance right now. Because he's already had the pitching coach out to talk to him. So he saw something. This is when you get him. This is when he gets hit, if he gets hit at all.
Well, Jeter leads off second and Cano off first. And the pitch to Alex is low inside through a breaking ball. The count 1-0. They've moved the center fielder, that's Fold, a little bit toward left center, probably 4 or 5 steps over. And here's the 1-0. Foul back. That fastball at 95, and the count 1-1. I would say he's a very effortless pitcher.
Right. I agree.
Very easy. He's not like huffing and puffing and giving everything he's got. Very smooth and easy. Runners lead, and here's the 1-1. That's low inside. And the count 2-1. Lobaton walks the ball out. One thing you can do, the things I say are true, but it's not that easy. This guy's pretty good. But one thing you can do, when you're ahead on the count like this, you can look for a pitch. Now, when you have 2 strikes, then it's see the ball, hit the ball. A-Rod steps in. He can look for a pitch. If he gets it, if he's looking for a pitch, changeup, curve, or fastball, he can hit it. And the pitch swung on and line to left field. It is a base hit. That ball is going to go all the way to the wall. Jeter scores. Here comes Cano. They'll hold him at third on an RBI double by Alex Rodriguez. It's a ribby double, and the Yankees tie the game at 1.
Oh, that's exactly what John said, and this is a chance. That's what we set up at the beginning. When he starts to lose control a little bit, use command. It's not loss of control. When he starts to lose command a little bit, he got right over the middle of the plate, and he was almost aiming the ball. That was a straight fastball that Alex turned on beautifully.
Now, here is what we're talking about, moving runners. The Yanks have second and third. And Russell Martin has to concentrate until he has 2 strikes on getting a pitch that he can drive. A fly ball scores a run. A ground ball in the middle of the infield scores a run. Pitch. There's a strike at the knees and the count 0-1. They're playing back at second and short. So if you hit a ground ball to short, that's a run and the lead. A ground ball to second, the same thing. I don't think they could score a run unless it's a weak ground ball to first or third. Obviously, a fly ball will score Cano. And here's the 0-1. Swung on. He got the fly ball to right field down the line. A long run for Joyce. Over his head. 1 hop into the seats. It's a grounds rule double. Cano scores and A-Rod scores. And the Yankees take a 3-1 lead. So Martin fought off a pitch, hit a long fly toward the foul line. It landed on the track and kangarooed in the seats. A 2-run double, and the Yankees take a 3-1 lead.
And that pitch was up, and that's where Moore was having problems. He's having trouble with command. That pitch was up, and he didn't try and do too much with it. Matt Joyce had no shot of getting that.
Oh, those are some big hits, and boy, have the Yankees been lacking those hits. Martin really did a good job. He fought it off. He didn't try to pull it, went with it. A-Rod's 45th RBI. Martin's 2 RBIs give him 39. And now here's Curtis Granderson. And the pitch, a fastball strike on the outside corner. Well, the Yankees rally and now take a 3-1 lead here in the 4th. Russell Martin, who runs very well, leads off second. And the 0-1 grounded weakly toward second. Hustling in is Johnson. He throws to first just in time. Martin goes to third. So Granderson out 4-3. And the Yankees have a runner at third with Schumann out. And here's Andrew Jones. Perk up your day, New York, with Wendy's Redhead Roasters Coffee. A new premium coffee menu featuring specialty coffees and iced coffees in mocha or caramel with premium Arabica beans ground fresh hourly. Wendy's. Now that's better. So there's a runner at third with 2 out, and here's Andrew, who struck out his first time. And Moore deals a breaking ball low in the count 1-0. Well, those are 2 big hits. A-Rod really laced his hit down the left field line, a ribby double. And Martin had a long fly ball double down the right field line, and the Yankees have 3 in the bank. It'll be a 1-0. And there's a strike at the knees in the count 1-1. Now the left-hander is set and deals. Swung on a high pop behind the plate and out of play, first base side of home plate, in the count 1-2. And believe me, the Yankees will feel a little bit of pressure lifted off them. They have a long way to go. They're only at the top of the 4th. But when you're not scoring and you don't have the lead, those kind of hits take a lot of pressure off.
Well, they do. I know they're not home runs, but doubles are good too.
That'll be a 1-2 to Jones. That pitch low inside. Now the count 2-2.
But this inning set up by they called it a hit, but I think the misplay by Elliott Johnson, second base, allowing Jeter to get on.
Well, it did set up the inning, didn't it?
Because then if that's an out and then Swisher makes an out, it's a different inning.
2-2 has popped up toward first, and it's caught by Elliott Johnson between first and second. However, the Yankees rally and get 3 runs. 3 runs on 3 hits. And 1 left. And now at the end of 3.5 innings of play, 3-1 Yanks on the New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. The game.
Wow. They've built this lead, and now they got their best player back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Carota deals. Scott takes a pitch low in the count 1-0.
Hey, you know what? Russell Martin got a hit. What do you think?
Well,
I bet when he comes up again.
Yeah, let's look.
You think he's over 200?
Yes.
Okay.
He's 1 for 2. You figure he picked up a point or 2.
He was at 200 somewhere in June. I remember we were watching, and then went back down. Not that it's a big deal, but nobody likes to look up and see anything.
And there's the 1-0 to Scott. First to throw to first, and Joyce dives on back. Joyce a very short lead, and Carota now throws over, and Joyce is back. It may be they're throwing over at 1-0. They're ahead on the count, so they figure Carota's going to throw a strike, and so they can hit and run. But they don't run Joyce. They don't run Scott either. But I would figure that's why he's throwing over. Now the 1-0 pitch cut on a miss, and Joyce stayed put. Yankees have a 3-1 lead. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Joyce at first with no one out.
Well, they've all got stolen bases. He's got 4. Matt Joyce. You wouldn't think of him as stealing bases. Probably as starting the runner thing. He doesn't look like a base stealer, does he?
No.
But if Molina has 3,
they start runners. The 1-1 hit on double play ball to second. Nix to Jeter, 1 on to first, double play. The Yankees turn a 4-6-3 DP, and like that, there are 2 outs and no one on.
And turned nicely by Nix to Jeter over to Pierce.
Let's take 10-second station ID on the New York Yankees radio network.
When you need to know.
All eyes are on the important jobs report.
With so much at stake.
Salaries are still not keeping up.
We've got you covered. WCBS News Radio 880.
John Sterling, Susan Wallman. back at Tropicana. Bottom of the fourth, 2 outs, no one on. Keppinger, it's a grounder right back to Kuroda, who will run and flip underhand to first to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, and no one left at the end of 4, 3-1 Yanks on the New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
What was good about that inning? 9 pitches for Kuroda.
Yeah, it was. I thought the same thing because he gave up the hit, then got the double play ground ball, and I think Keppinger grounded out on the first pitch. Well, we go to the 5th. The Yanks have a 3-1 lead. It'll be Pierce, Nix, and then the top of the order, Derek Jeter. A single by Fuld, a sacrifice in the first inning, and a 2-out single by Longoria plated the Tampa run. And last inning, Jeter hit a pop fly to shallow center. Elliott Johnson caught it and dropped it. They gave Derek a hit, his second hit of the game. And there's the pitch to Pierce. Fastball's high. After Swisher flied out, Cano walked. It's a big walk, and then A-Rod doubled in a run down the left field line, and Martin doubled in 2 runs down the right field line. The Yanks have a 3-1 lead. The 1-0 is hit in the air to center. Back goes Fuld. He makes the catch. And there's 1 away.
This game is brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealer, where you can test drive the Ford Explorer with best-in-class fuel economy. Get to your Tri-State Ford dealer today.
Now 1 down. Here is Jason Nix. Lobaton out on the mound having a little chat with his left-hander. I think I started to mention before, when the visiting team is up, they don't play the sound effects, and so there's no noise. It's a very small crowd. And the pitch to Nix is low on the count of 1-0.
Oh, we like it. It's restful.
Oh, yes, it's very nice.
Because the other inning, it's bedlam in here.
Yeah, it sure is.
Can't hear.
And it's bedlam of ersatz noise. The 1-0. There's a strike. And the count 1-1. Now the Yankees go to Baltimore and play 4. And Tampa Bay doesn't have a vacation. They stay home, but they play Texas for 3.
No, that is no picnic at all.
The 1-1 swung on and fouled down the right field line out of play, and the count 1-2. And now you have to forget about your opponent. You have to win games. I just mentioned, I could go down the list. The Dodgers lost to San Diego. The Giants lost. I forget who they lost to. The team out of the pennant race. The Tigers lost to Cleveland. White Sox lost to Minnesota. And there's the 1-2. Pitch low. This isn't football. Right. It's not. Don't look at schedules. The bad teams beat good teams in baseball all the time. Anyway, there were 6 teams.
That was yesterday, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a 2-2 to Jason. And the lefty deals. Cut on a miss. So Nix strikes out. Strikeout number 7 for Moore. And here is Jeter.
Boy, what a pitch. Breaking ball started on the outside part of the plate. Down right on, almost onto the ground. He swung right over it. Great arm, this kid. Wow.
Jeter has 2 hits, and if I read the board right, we could look it up, Jeter has 181 hits. He leads the major leagues. I want to look that up. The pitch to Derek is a strike. He went. Because imagine if Derek would get 200 hits again, and if he really does have 181, if I read that right, then he got a great chance. 27 games remaining. Whatever, he's having an outstanding year.
181 is now correct.
The pitch is inside, and Jeter just got out of the way. As he got a high step to get out of the way, and the count 1-1. That's all the Yankees need.
Jeter up to 319. Here we are in first week in September.
There's the 1-1. It's cut on him. Missed in the count 1-2.
That's a great curveball, isn't it?
Yep. Oh, he has great pitches. He has 3, and we're seeing them all. Jeter swung right over the bend of that curveball. 2 outs, no one on. We're in the top of the 5th. 1 and 2 on Jeter, and the Yankees have a 3-1 lead. Now here is the 1-2. Swung on and line down the right field line. It is a base hit just inside the line going to the right field corner. Jeter heads towards second. He is there with a double. That perfect Jeterian swing. That inside-out perfect swing lined it right down the right field line, and it kissed the turf just inside the line for the double. So Jeter safe at second. Help ensure your family's financial future is safe and secure. Contact your local New York Life Insurance Company agent or visit them at NewYorkLife.com.
And that was fair by about a foot. And for Derek Jeter, hit number 182 on the season.
3 for 3 on the night.
Wow.
The captain leads. He does lead, too. And he's been leading for about 17 years. Now here's Swisher with 2 outs and a runner at second. And the lefty deals. There's a breaking ball strike, and the count 0-1.
Well, interestingly, we have 2 5-inning no-hitters so far in the National League. Mike Minor's thrown 1 for Atlanta, and Gio Gonzalez has thrown 1 for Washington. Both are through 5. They're not playing each other, obviously.
It'll be an 0-1. And he held up, and the count 1-1. I think Gonzalez is going for his 18th.
Yes, he is.
And boy, when you have Strasburg and Gonzalez and Jordan Zimmerman at the top of your rotation,
well, they're not going to have Strasburg after September 12th.
No, you know, they already said that they're going to pitch John Lannon. Here's the 1-1. There is a strike, and the count 1-2.
Swisher saying something to home plate umpire Bob Davidson. I would imagine, John, that Swisher's very, very frustrated. He's 4 for now his last 33. You know, he was hitting it. He was so hot, and then to go so cold so quickly, almost like a light switch went off. He needs a hit here.
That'll be a 1-2. Pitch is fouled off first base side out of play. Yeah, you can do the math. 4 for 32 is 1 for 8. That's 125. So that is some slump. And yeah, a hit here would be big. Jeter could score and give the Yankees another run. Outfield straightaway, and the infield, they pull the second baseman Johnson over toward second. Now here's the 1-2. Laid off, a breaking ball in the dirt, and the count 2-2. You know, one thing interesting tonight, and Susan and I were talking about it during our lineups. All year long, they've played Elliott Johnson at short and Zobrist at second. And they make the change, and they didn't make a change for any other reason but the fact that they think Zobrist is better at short. So that's how they're going. He's played short a couple of games in this series. He plays everywhere, Zobrist.
Elliott Johnson's made 13 errors this year.
That'll be a 2-2 to Swisher. Hit on the ground toward short. Zobrist fields and throws in time. For the Yankees, no runs on a hit. They leave 1. And now at the end of 4.5, 3-1 Yanks. On the New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, we go to the bottom of the 5th. The Yankees have a 3-1 lead. And being the 5th inning, the Daily News 5th, sponsored by the Daily News, New York's hometown everything. We're joined in the booth by Mark Feinsand of the Daily News. Here is the catcher, Jose Lobaton, who had a long double his first time. And Carota deals a breaking ball low. We know, Mark, that structurally this game is vital. In other words, the Yankees would do no worse than remain in a first-place tie going into Baltimore. What do you think it would do for the Yankees to win the game just for their spirit? First of all, here's the 1-0. There's a strike.
I think it would do a lot for them, John. A combination of things. First of all, to get a well-pitched game that they are so far getting from Hiroki Kuroda would be important for them. And just to win a game on their own terms, so to speak.
The 1-1 is inside the count 2-1.
You know, they're 1-5 in their last 6, and the one win came in a game that essentially was handed to them late by the Orioles last weekend. So to go out there, get a couple of timely hits, which they got last inning from Martin and Alex.
The 2-1. There's a strike at the knees in the count 2-2.
And have Kuroda go out there and hold that lead, which is something their starters have struggled to do when they've gotten one. I think it would be very important.
All right, I have a couple of questions for you. One, last night Kevin Long said that the team needs to do things, move runners, bunt.
The 2-2 is popped high in the air toward the Yankee dugout, and it's going to go over the dugout into the crowd, so the count holds 2-2.
And it was a pretty long talking in the middle of that clubhouse, I am told. Now today, to both me and the manager show, and I guess to you guys too, the manager just dismissed it.
He did.
So what does that mean for Girardi's relationship with Kevin Long?
Well, we asked him that. I said, do you guys just have a difference of opinion on this subject? He said, no, we're on the same page. And, but Joe made it clear, ultimately, it's his decision.
There's the 2-2. And the fastball low inside. Well, Kuroda wanted that call. Anyway, let's look at it. Let's look at the replay. Pretty good pitch. Anyway, the count 3-2 on Lobaton leading off.
Joe's take on it was, we're not going to ask our guys to do stuff they're not comfortable doing and that they're not used to doing. That's not the team we are.
Now here comes the 3-2. Struck him out swinging fastball up. Oh, there's one away.
Well, that's too bad, because there's a lot of games where you're not going to be able to hit doubles in the corners.
And that was Kevin's point last night. He said, look, the situation he explained that he pointed to was the third inning last night, first and second, nobody out, Swisher, Cano, and Alex coming up. Swisher's in a little bit of a slump right now, and asking him to move the runners over with a bunt for Robbie and Alex, take away the double play, which Robbie eventually hit into, not the worst idea.
Now here's Elliott Johnson, a switch hitter batting left. He hits a fly ball to left on the first pitch. Standing there is Jones, barely moved a muscle, makes the catch, and they're 2 away.
And Joe's point on that was, the way to get out of this is to hit. We need these guys to hit. First and second, nobody out. Our 3, 4, 5 guys should be able to hit. We discussed that last night. Obviously, they do need to hit. Tonight they've gotten a couple of big hits from Alex and from Russell, but more often than not over the past, 3 weeks or 4 weeks, they just haven't gotten those hits.
And when you get into the playoffs, if they get there, you're not going to be facing somebody's number 5 pitcher anymore.
Now, 2-way here is Sam Fuld. I have another point on that. As Kuroda deals, and there's a strike. I'm not asking anyone to bunt, but if you need a run, and you have a runner at third with 1 out, and they're going to play the infield back, give you the run, you can shorten up at a ground ball. Now, that you can do. Anyone can do that, especially these terrific hitters, and I think that would be very important. Here is the 0-1. There's a strike in the count 0-2. Agree?
No, absolutely, John. I mean, and that was also Kevin's point, is just doing the little things that they haven't done recently. We've talked about it all season long. Their struggles of getting a guy in from third base with less than 2 outs.
Now here's the 0-2. It bounced up there. We're doing this quick because there's 2 outs and 2 strikes on the hitter. Do you see Andy Pettitte returning to the hill in 2 weeks?
I think it's a possibility. He threw to hitters today through his normal, 30-something pitch warm-up, and then 16 pitches to a few hitters. Said his command was really good. He felt good. He hasn't been cleared to run yet. Until that happens, he's not looking any farther than this weekend. He's going to do another simulated, inning or 2. But I think 2 weeks could be about right.
Yeah, he told me that. I just wanted to. You think that the 1-2 is low. And as far as running, I'm not asking him to run the 1 to make a mile. I just want him to pitch.
Right, but Andy, and Andy's legs are a huge part of his game. He needs to feel physically and mentally that his legs are underneath him and that they are where they need to be.
All right, another question really quickly. Team meeting today?
Here's the 2-2, inside 3-2.
I didn't hear you.
Team meeting today?
Team meeting today. Joe Girardi wouldn't divulge too many details of it. Lasted about 20 or 25 minutes. The whole team just disappeared from the clubhouse right in the middle of our pregame access, and it was very clear what was going on there.
Here comes the payoff. High. He walked Fuld after being ahead 0-2. So the speedy Sam Fuld goes to first, and that will bring up Desmond Jennings.
Joe said the gist of it was basically just to remind the team you're still in first place and the destiny is still in your own hands, and just sort of, my guess, reaffirm everything and make sure there wasn't any panic. I don't know that there was a sign of it, but just make sure everybody knows that we've got some big games ahead of us here, and it's still in our own hands what happens here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they start to hit it a little bit and make it a lot easier. Here's Jennings, a righty hitter with power. Fuld leads off first. Kuroda holds a set and deals inside, and it turned him around. He wanted to go to first base, feeling that the ball brushed him, and Bob Davidson wasn't buying, so the count 1-0.
Well, let's take a look. I don't think it hit him.
If it did anything, it might have been the corner of his sleeve, but I'm not sure it did.
Well, but 20 minutes is a long time to say that you're still in charge of your own destiny.
It wouldn't surprise me if more people spoke than Joe Girardi, but nobody was willing to give that information up yet.
It'll be a 1-0. Well, you know, Mark, when I would ask Joe Torre that, about the meeting, he said, John, if I wanted you to know, I'd have invited you in.
And that's exactly what Joe Girardi said to us.
It'll be a 1-0 to Jennings. With 2 outs, bottom of the 5th, the Yanks have a 3-1 lead. And Kuroda throws over to first. It's not out of the question they could run Fuld, because Joe Madden really doesn't put a restriction, especially on the guys who can run like Fuld, who has stolen 7 out of 8. If he gets in scoring position, a base hit would knock him in. The pitch. There's a strike. And the count 1-1. But you know what? In essence, that is right. The season isn't over. They have 27 games to go. They have to win their games.
Well, and they have, they still have the 4 this weekend against Baltimore. They have another series against Tampa. They play the team they need to beat.
And it'll be a 1-1. Fouled off. And Susan and I were kidding. Yankees have a tough trip. They go to Baltimore for 4. Tampa stays home. They play Texas. That's not easy either.
Right, they got a tough schedule.
All 3 of these teams have tough spots in their schedule. The Orioles go on that 9-game road trip to the West Coast and then to Boston, and then finish obviously down here. So all 3 of these teams have some bumps ahead of them and will have their chance to prove that they belong in the postseason.
Kuroda ahead on the count 1-2. Jennings has sacrificed and popped up, and Kuroda again throws to first base. Kuroda's at 75 pitches, but pitch count is not a big thing, because the Yankees, if they can get to the 7th inning, will start to mix and match lefties and righties. They'll pitch their best, and then the 8th and 9th are reserved. The Yankees hope to have the lead at that point. It'll be a 1-2. Runner goes, pitches line to left field. Charging is Jones, has to play it on a hop. Fuld goes to third. So there's first and third with 2 out. So Jennings comes through, the line drive single, and this is a 2-out rally after Fuld was 0-2. Kuroda walked him, and I bet Kuroda would love to have that walk back. So first and third, 2 out.
Well, Andrew Jones just can't get to this, and he knew that he wasn't going to get to it, so played it on 1 hop.
Right there is a play where you think about where the Yankees have most missed Brett Gardner this year. Right there is a play that Gardner would have had a chance to make that Andrew Jones had no chance.
Or even an Ichiro in there. That's, you have to decide. You want to go righty-lefty or you want to have good defense out there.
Now here's Ben Zobrist, who was struck out and grounded out. First and third, 2 out. And Kuroda bluffs toward third and first. This is a big batter for many reasons. Obviously, a base hit means a run. But if Zobrist gets on, then Longoria bats with the bases loaded, let's say. So this is an awfully big batter again in the game. Zobrist, a switch hitter, batting left. Now Kuroda deals, strike. Anything new on not just Teixeira's injury, but when you think Teixeira would play?
It looks like Saturday is the day they're targeting. They're gonna try to run him on the field, not at full speed, but run him on the field in Baltimore tomorrow. See how he responds to that Friday. Run him full speed on Friday, and I think the hope is that he's back on the field in the lineup on Saturday.
That'll be an 0-1 to Zobrist. Fuld off third. Jennings, who really can run, off first. And the pitch caught on him. He jumps out ahead 0-2. The reason I said Jennings can really run, his stolen base percentage is phenomenal. He has stolen 25 out of 27. And if he would run, would the Yankees throw through and have Fuld come home? And if they don't throw through, then there's no force at second, and a base hit would mean a tie game. So Thus far, obviously, he hasn't run. Meanwhile, Kuroda is ahead of Zobrist 0-2. He needs one more good pitch to get out of this inning. And the right-hander holds the set. And again, bluffs toward third and first.
Mark, anything else in your pregame with the manager? Did he bring up last night?
No, he refused to talk about last night once again. Very strange. The whole him refusing to talk about the ejections.
You know what I'm
very,
thinking?
very odd. Unless he just didn't want to tick off Bob Davidson behind the plate tonight.
I got another thought as Kuroda wants to go through. Wasn't Rondazzo on that crew when he got kicked out in Detroit, and he talked about it a lot?
Davidson was the one.
Davidson was the one who threw him out, but wasn't that the same? Or is Davidson? I'm wondering because he talked so much about it.
The 0-2 is low, blocked by Martin. Now is a splitter, and the count 1-2.
There seem to be conflicting ideas. Kevin Long said Joe didn't say anything to him. Tony Pena said Joe wasn't arguing the ball and strike. That the umpire Randazzo looked into the dugout, and Joe just sort of looked at him as if to say, "Just look that way. To stop looking into our dugout." And that they took that as him arguing the ball and strike. The umpire said very clearly, he argued the ball and strike. You argue that, you get tossed out. So, little he said. Joe obviously doesn't want to make an issue of it, especially with Davidson behind the plate tonight, a guy who he has had a run-in with this season already.
Right. And you know what? That's a very smart thing to do.
I agree.
And also, as you know, oftentimes the umpires are very sensitive.
Really?
If they think you want to argue. That'd be a 1-2 to Zobrist. Runners lead first and third, 2 out, bottom of the fifth. There goes the runner. The pitch is pop foul, third base out of play. So Jennings will have to come back, and the count remains 1-2.
They might be very sensitive, but I will say Brian Gorman and Tony Randazzo couldn't have been more pleasant in coming out to talk to us last night.
No, it's very interesting when you do go back. I was going to say backstage. It's not backstage. Right. When you go back and you talk to umpires, they are usually very pleasant. Now, the only thing I was thinking was that maybe Girardi had been told to, because in Detroit he was very vociferous about it, and maybe somebody said, no, just don't talk about it.
Well, he did not hear from Joe Torre today, so there was no there was no follow-up from the league today regarding his ejection.
Once again, it's a 1-2 to Zobrist. Runners lead first and third. Pitch is inside and low. And the count 2-2. I don't know if this is true. On the board, and they called that fastball 95. I didn't know Kuroda could throw 95. They let it fly, but missed. The tying runs are on. Zobrist the go-ahead run. Yanks have a 3-1 lead, bottom of the fifth. It'll be a 2-2 to Zobrist, a switch hitter batting left. And Kuroda again bluffs toward first, steps off.
Very quickly, there was one good sign yesterday. Jabba Chamberlain, who was throwing fastballs, and he didn't use that slider. He went fastball, and then mixed in that slider.
Yeah, really the first really clean, crisp inning we've seen from Jabba this season. If he can figure it out in the next week or two, that could be very important for this bullpen. Really lacked a seventh inning guy.
It'll be a 2-2. The pitch is swung on and lined toward the gap in right center. It is a base hit going to the right center field wall. One run scores. Here comes Jennings. He scores. Zobrist heads for third. He's there with a triple. It is a 2-run triple for Ben Zobrist, and the ball game is tied at 3.
And you know what they say, 2 out hits win your ball games. Well, 2 out hits followed by a walk, a single, and a 2-run triple win your ball games also. Here comes Larry Rothschild. Let's look at this trip. This pitch was up. It was on the outside part of the plate, but it was up. It was about knee-high.
Well, this began with a 2-out walk to Sam Fuld after Kuroda was ahead 0-2. And boy, did that ever turn the game around. My goodness. So here's Longoria with the runner at third. I'm glad you brought that up, Susan. Jabba was great last night. He was throwing 95, 96, and he looked by far the best he's looked.
But it was also what he was doing, guys. It was that he was throwing fastballs. He didn't come in and start off with a slider and keep, hitting corners. He came in 95, 97 mile an hour fastball.
Well, the Yankees have been trying to figure out what to do with him and what's been wrong. And obviously, Larry Rothschild and Jabba Chamberlain discussed it coming into his outing and decided, look, we're gonna try to attack with the fastball because obviously he's had a lot of success with that before. And you saw the results.
Well, here's Longoria with a go-ahead run at third and 2 out. And Kuroda deals. And that pitch low. And the count 1-0.
And this is what we've seen from Yankee starters. They get a lead and they are not able to hold it. Sabathia, Hughes, now Kuroda. This has been a very disturbing trend for the Yankees in recent weeks.
Well, the walk to Fuld was a killer, right? I mean,
absolutely.
He had a non-hitter 0-2. Part of baseball. There'll be a 1-0 to Longoria. The go-ahead run at third with 2 men out here in the 5th. And Kuroda deals low outside. Nice stab by Martin. That saved a run.
Yeah, when you have Fuld 0-2 there, you've got to put him away or make him beat you, not put him on with a walk.
Well, you know, we've seen this with Kuroda. He'll have one inning where he kind of loses it, and we've seen that before. Of course, the Yankees have had that, as John said. CeCe did it. Hughes does it. And we just saw that again. Boy, Martin crossed over his body to get that. That would have been back by the fence.
That'll be a 2-0. And the pitch, there's a strike. And the count 2-1. For Zobrist, his 57th and 58th RBIs. He really hit it. A shot to the gap in right center. And turned out to be a triple. Zobrist runs very well. That'll be a 2-1 to Longoria. And the pitch, a high fly to right. Drifting back, Swisher. And he makes the catch to end the inning. However, big inning for the Rays. A 2-out rally. They get 2 runs, 2 hits, leave 1, and now at the end of 5. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
End of 5 innings of play. The Yankees 3 and Tampa 3 on the Yanks radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, tonight's game presented by your local tri-state area Audi dealers. Visit your nearest Audi dealer now during the Summer of Audi event. 10-second station ID on the New York Yankees radio network. To the 6th, and Cano takes a breaking ball strike. John Sterling, Susan Waldman back at Tropicana. Now, the 2-run triple by Zobrist ties the game. We're all knotted at 3 here in the 6th. And the 0-1. Grounded foul at home plate. And count 0-2.
Scoreboard update sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit them at geico.com.
Middle of the order, it'll be Cano, A-Rod, and Russell Martin. When the Yankees rallied for 3, Cano drew a walk. A-Rod doubled in a run, and Martin doubled in 2. There's the 0-2. Low outside. And the count 1-2. Oh, A-Rod awaits on deck. Moore's at 83 pitches. And here's the 1-2. He struck him out swinging, and there's one away. For Moore, that is strikeout number 8.
Quickly, White Sox beat the Twins 6-2. Angels over Oakland 7-1. Detroit's leading Cleveland 2-1. Bottom of the 7th in Detroit. All tied up. Baltimore and Toronto 2 apiece. Bottom of the 7th at the Rogers Center. Texas leading Kansas City 3-1. Top of the 3rd. Boston and Seattle a little bit later. 2 finals in the National League. Phillies beat Cincinnati 6-2, and Mets beat St. Louis by the same score, 6-2.
Now here's A-Rod, and Moore deals on the breaking ball low, 1-0.
Both Gio Gonzalez and Mike Minor have lost their no-hitters in the 6th inning, but are still winning. Both have now given up 1 hit.
There's the 1-0. There's a strike. Change in the count 1-1.
Washington leading Chicago 6-0 there in the 7th, and Atlanta is leading Colorado 1-0, bottom of the 6th.
Here we're tied at 3 in the top of the 6th with 1 out, no one on. And there's a ground ball to 3rd foul. On the count 1-2. A-Rod takes a moment out of the box. And the left-hander's 1-2 is foul, first base side out of play. So the count holds at 1-2. Moore really never leaves the rubber. Here's the 1-2. He struck him out swinging. High fastball. Strikeout number 9 for Moore.
95-mile-an-hour fastball right around the waist.
Now 2-8. There's Russell Martin. And by the way, Susan, on the board, Martin is hitting at 201. The pitch, strike on the inside corner. Two outs, no one on, top of the 6th, tied at 3. And the 0-1 is inside the count, 1-1.
I think mid-June was when we noticed he was at 200, 201, and then fell back down. Still looks better 201 than 196.
Well, there's a strike, and the count 1-2, the breaking ball strike. Now, here's the 1-2. Martin takes up high. 2-2. Now the lefty's 2-2. Swung on. There goes deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Russell Martin homers in the left field seats to give the Yankees a lead. Russell shows muscle. Monsieur Martin est là. He homers and the Yankees take a 4-3 lead.
And there was no doubt about that. Home run number 15 for Russell Martin. And does he get a big reception from that Yankee dugout? High fives Derek Jeter, Tony Pena, Jason Nix. Let's see where this pitch was. Fastball was up on the outside part of the plate. He didn't use a really long swing on it, but used that muscle, as John said, and there was no doubt about that one. Wow.
For Martin, his 15th home run. He now has 40 RBIs, 3 tonight. Here's Curtis Granderson, and he misses a breaking ball. The count 0-1. Yeah, Martin put a charge in it into the left center field seats, and the Yankees once again have the lead, this time 4-3. The 0-1 is grounded foul outside of first on a fastball, or off a fastball. Come home to the real Little Italy on Sunday, September 9th. Celebrate Italian heritage with a festival on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx and meet Babe Ruth's granddaughter. Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, where Italian tradition still thrives. That's this Sunday. And the 0-2 swung on a high pop down the right field line. Joyce toward the line. He can't find it, and now he makes the catch in fair territory. So for the Yankees, 1 run, 1 hit. They retake the lead at the end of 5.5. It's 4-3 Yanks on the Yanks radio network, driven by Jeep.
Well, we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Hiroki Kuroda still in there, and Russell Martin's home run has given the Yankees a 4-3 lead as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Here's left-hand hitting Matt Joyce to lead off. You know, on that last fly ball by Granderson, Kuroda deals the pitch low. Joyce went toward the line, and he had his palms up. The ball was really hit high near that oatmeal-covered roof. And I really thought he lost it. He had his palms up like I can't find it. And he made the catch. And here's the 1-0. And there was a strike.
2013 Yankee season tickets are on sale now. Reserve your seats for the 2013 season and get the opportunity to purchase the same seats for the 2012 postseason. Call 212-YANKEES or email season tickets at yankees.com.
The 1-1 is grounded to first. Pierce backs up, fields, races to the bag. 1 away.
I guess the guy on the scoreboard, John, must be playing like interesting games with what he's doing, because as Russell Martin's home run left the park, a 3 went up next to the Toronto Blue Jays name, so they're leading 3-2. Not that that's the end, but that's happened the other day too.
And so Toronto has the lead, and they were in the 7th, right?
6 or 7.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out.
One away. Here's another lefty hitter, Luke Scott. Knicks place him on the outfield part of the turf. There's a long drive to right. It is high. It is far. It is gone. It's all tied.
Well, that's Luke Scott. He can do that at any time. His 13th home run of the season. Isn't hitting for average .223. But Nick Swisher took 2 steps back, turned around, and didn't even move. Oh, that was fast.
Now, Luke Scott hits it out. His 13th home run, his 47th RBI. And we're all tied at 4.
He's trying to get it on the outside part of the plate, but Scott is strong enough to hit that pitch that way.
Here's Keppinger. He's 1 for 2. And there's a breaking ball strike. Now, Kuroda, who has been so terrific, has given up 2 leads tonight. And we're all tied at 4 here in the bottom of the 6th inning with 1 out and no one on. And the pitch is grounded to third. A-Rod fields and throws across two-way.
It's got to be a little disheartening for the offense that's been having such trouble scoring to get a lead and have your pitcher give it back almost immediately.
Now 2-8. Here is the catcher, the switch hitter, Jose Lobaton. The New York State Smokers Quit Line. Go to nysmokefree.com or call 866-NY-QUITS for help quitting today. Now we're tied at 4 with 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. And Kuroda deals and Lobaton takes outside. Yankee bullpen going to get busy. Kuroda's at 93 pitches. Here's the 1-0. And it's cut on a miss. Good fastball by Kuroda.
You know, I think, John, what is you've got to look at is both CC Sabathia and Hiroki Kuroda, their 2 best pitchers, have given back leads. And when you have a team that's having trouble scoring runs and they do get the lead, a little disheartening.
Here's the 1-1. Lobaton takes high, and the count 2-1. The pitch is just off the outside corner. The count 3-1 on Lobaton.
Boone Logan warming up for the Yanks.
There's the 3-1. A slow ball 4. So Lobaton is on. That's the second walk. Ironically, the first walk was the killer in this game. Yanks had a 3-1 lead. Not only were there 2 outs and no one on, but the hitter Sam Fuld, a singles hitter, had a count of 0-2. And Kuroda just lost him, and he walked him. And then Jennings singled, and then Zobrist hit the 2-run triple to tie at 3. So that was really the killer of the game for Kuroda, the walk to Fuld. Here's a 2-out walk to Lobaton.
And here's Larry Rothschild out to talk to Kuroda. Tonight's speed report is brought to you by AT&T 4G LTE. With speeds up to 10 times faster than 3G, AT&T rethink possible. Well, we're going to give it to Ben Zobrist today with that 2-run triple sped around to third base in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well, Rothschild goes back. Elliott Johnson is a switcher, a better lefty hitter than righty hitter, and he stands in there lefty against Kuroda. Johnson has grounded out and flied out. Lobaton, the runner at first. And the pitch misses outside, 1-0. We raved over Chamberlain last night. He was throwing 96. and throwing a lot of fastballs and still his slider and the curve. And he looks so good that he's up in the bullpen. He wouldn't be up in the bullpen if he didn't look that good. Well, that's a little bit of trust. The 1-0. There's a strike at the knees and the count 1-1. And Mark Feinsand, who was with us from the Daily News, said, well, that's really Chamberlain. He could really help be the 7th inning guy.
Yep.
We're tied at 4 here in the bottom of the 6th. The catcher, Jose Lobaton, leads off first. It'll be a 1-1 to Elliott Johnson. And the pitch low on the count 2-1.
Well, that was pitch number 100 for Kuroda.
It'll be a 2-1 to Elliott Johnson. Lobaton leads off first with 2 out here in the bottom of the 6th, tied at 4. And the 2-1. Hit on the ground hard, but A-Rod gloves it beautifully. Throws to first in time to end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left at the end of 6. We're tied at 4 on the Yanks radio network, driven by Jeep.
Watch the Yankees.
Well, we go to the top of the 7th. Kyle Farnsworth, a righty, ex-Yank, is warming up in the Tampa bullpen down the right field line. Right now, no action in the Yankee bullpen. Here's Andrew Jones to lead off against Moore. And Jones 0 for 2. And the pitch lined hard. There's a base hit to left field. So Jones is on. And now that will bring up Steve Pearce. Now let's see how the Yankees play it. Now I figure they don't bring in Farnsworth, because if they do, that will unleash the lefty hitters like Chavez and Ibanez. Pearce really looking down at Robbie Thompson. I have no idea if Pearce could bunt. Zero idea. Well, today's pitch count brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Hours and hours of energy. And Hiroki Kuroda has thrown 101 pitches, 61 for strikes. Well, the shortstop Zobrist came on, and the conversation ends. Bob Davidson's writing something in his card like there's a new player or a pinch hitter or a pinch runner. I don't see anyone.
Well, what's he doing? He's got a card, and he's looking into the Yankee dugout.
And writing on the card, normally you do that when they change the lineup.
Oh, wait a minute. There's why. There's Ichiro is going to go and run for Andrew Jones.
So that's exactly what was happening. So Ichiro now runs for Jones, and obviously he would go in and play in the outfield.
The game is brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealer, home of the fuel-efficient Ford Edge with unsurpassed fuel economy. You can go over 500 miles on a tank of gas. Get to your Tri-State Ford dealer today.
Now, let's see. Do they bunt Pierce? Do they let Ichiro try to steal? They got to move him around. We're tied at 4 in the top of the 7th. Pitch. Pierce swings and loops one to right center field. It is going to dunk in for a base hit. Ichiro goes to second. He had to wait. So Pierce comes through with a looping single to right center. And now if Nix doesn't bunt, boy, you got a scoop. The Yankees have first and second, no one out in a 4-4 tie. Carlos tells us that Toronto has a 6-2 lead over Baltimore. I don't know what inning it is, but we'll find that out. Bottom of the 7th. First and second, no one out. Nix has to bunt. You want to bunt toward third to make Keppinger field it. The pitch is taken low. He was square to bunt. Keppinger trying to hedge his bet. He's trying to anchor at third, hoping that Moore can cut over to the third base line. The first baseman, Scott, will run in to make the play on the first base side of the mound. You got a very fast runner in Ichiro. He's at second, Pierce at first, and no one out in the 7th. And Jeter is on deck. The pitch is bunted, in front of the plate, and they're going to call it a foul ball. Oh, the count 1-1. Oh, he's got one more bunt attempt. You know, it'd be interesting to see what Tampa does. For example, let's say the bunt is successful and you have second and third, one out. Do they bring the infield up? First of all, he has to bunt successfully. Lefty Jake McGee now joins Farnsworth in the bullpen for Tampa. First and second, no one out here in the seventh. And the pitch is taken low. And the count 2-1. Good job by Nix.
Yep.
Because you shouldn't bunt if it's not going to be a strike. I mean, if he walks you, well, you're way ahead of the game.
You know, that's a lot of things that's one thing that players that can't bunt do. You don't have to hit it just because you're supposed to bunt. And that's something Brett Gardner was trying to learn. You know, if the pitch is at the letters, don't bunt it.
The 2-1 is bunted down the third base side. Moore fields and fires just in time. I mean, they got him by half a step, or there would have been the bases loaded and no one out. He was out, but I mean, he was just out. Because when Nix bunted, it plopped in the air, and that took a little time to come down. Here comes Joe Madden. Well, Tampa Bay got very fortunate. He was out, but boy, he was just out. So the Yanks have second and third, and one man out.
Well, since Matt Moore had given up 3 straight hits to Derek Jeter, Joe Madden comes out and takes him out there, brings in Kyle Farnsworth to face the captain.
The sacrifice goes 1-4, and the infield does come up, so they're going to try to cut off the run. And here is the captain, Derek Jeter. He's got Ichiro at third, Pierce at second, one out. Top of the seventh, the game tied at 4. Boone Logan up in the Yankees bullpen. Now here comes Farnsworth, the right-hander. And the pitch to Jeter is low, the count 1-0.
And that's Farnsworth in a nutshell, right there. Farnsworth, he doesn't give up a lot of hits, but he's walked 10 as opposed to 19 strikeouts. That's not good enough.
A fly ball gives the Yankees the lead, and a ground ball through the infield could give the Yankees a 2-run lead. Infield's all the way up, and the pitch is a strike on the outside corner. And the count 1-1. Farnsworth basically fastball splitter. I'm sure he throws the slider at times, too. Oh, here it is. This is a heck of a game, by the way.
Yep.
What a baseball game. This is a big moment in the game for the Yanks. Second and third, one man out, top of the seventh. It'll be a 1-1 to Jeter. The pitch is outside, fastball. The count 2-1, fastball at 96. Jeter has singled twice and doubled. And the Yankees here would be really happy with a fly ball. Don't forget, Ichiro has terrific speed at third. And it'll be a 2-1 to Derek. Hit on the ground towards second. Here comes Ichiro. The throw is wild. It goes back to the backstop. Here comes Pierce, and he scores. How do you like that? Ichiro broke on contact. Elliott Johnson picked up the ball and threw it way high and wide on the third base side of the plate, back to the backstop. 2-run score, and the Yankees take a 6-4 lead. And that is some big play. And Jeter goes all the way to second base.
And you asked before why Joe Madden doesn't play him at shortstop. He's been brutal in the field.
And that's at second base.
Wow.
So the Yankees got a break. Jeter will get an RBI. It's got to be a 2-base error on Elliott Johnson. But Jeter gets 1 RBI.
Jeter also advances to second.
And Jeter goes to second on the error. And the Yankees have a 6-4 lead. And here is Swisher. The pitch is inside. If I didn't tell you, the sack went 1-4. And so the Yankees got a break. And you know what? They need a break. They need a break, and they got one. As Elliott Johnson didn't come close.
Oh.
He fired it high and wide on the third base side of the plate. Back to he goes Jeter to third. Pitch is taken, no throw. Jeter steals third. Have you ever met, Susan, a more instinctive baseball player than Derek Jeter?
No.
I mean, he saw that Farnsworth wasn't paying attention. He steals third. He can score on an out.
And it's never wavered from the day he walked in this clubhouse.
So now the infield comes up again, and now the Yankees need a fly ball to take a 3-run lead pitch. Caught on and foul back. And the count 1-2. Now here's Swisher. You know, talking about what they can do, what they can't do. But here's Swisher has to think off field. You don't have to take a full cut. And he's got to make contact. He got to think off field, make contact, and get that run in. The infield is up for play at the plate. Jeter at third with one man out. The Yanks have a 6-4 lead here in the 7th. And Farnsworth now deals low. And the count 2-2.
See, and Swisher, John, as if you agree with me, is one of these guys that you would think could be able to put the ball in the air at any time. Just shorten up on that swing. He can do that with his...
Oh, that's a big run. Yep. The Yanks have been giving back runs. That's a big run at third. The theft is third by Jeter. Pitch. Line foul. Missed a double down the right field line. With the first baseman up, everyone's up. That ball went past Scott, but it was foul.
Follow the Yankees with the MLB.com @BAT12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows mobile device. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Yankees.com for details.
There'll be a 2-2 to Swisher. Jeter off third with one man out. And the right-hander Farnsworth now deals low 3-2. Jeter safely at third. Your family can be safe and secure with financial protection from New York Life Insurance Company. They've helped keep families safe and secure since 1845. Visit them at NewYorkLife.com. Now it'll be a payoff pitch to Swisher. Jeter leads off third with one man out, top of the 7th. And Farnsworth deals. He struck him out swinging, and they're 2 away.
Second strikeout of the night for Swisher. He's 0 for 4. So he's now 4 for his last 35. Wow.
10-second station ID on the New York Yankees radio network. They're going to walk Robbie Cano intentionally. John Sterling, Susan Waldman back at Tropicana. Yankees get 2 runs in the 7th. They take a 6-4 lead. And now Cano will go to first, and the Yankees will have first and third with 2 men out for Alex Rodriguez. The strikeout, Farnsworth's first, and the 10th by Tampa pitching. So the intentional walk will be completed in just a moment.
You know, we talk about Tampa, how they've got such a great pitching staff. There's only one team that's worse defensively than the Tampa Bay Rays, and that's Baltimore.
Isn't that amazing?
See, nobody's got everything. They have pitching, they can hit when they want, and they have a brutal defense. And how did this happen? Because they used to be great.
I guess different players.
I guess so.
Well, here is A-Rod with first and third, 2 out. Farnsworth got a big strikeout in Swisher. That's a run if he makes contact. So now it takes a 2-out hit or error of some kind. The pitch to Alex, swung on, hit on the ground is short. The flip to second for the force. For the Yankees, they break the tie. They get 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 huge error, and 2 men left. Now at the end of 6.5 innings of play, 6-4 Yanks on the New York Yankees radio network, driven by G.
Well, that's all for Hiroki Kuroda as Boone Logan comes on. Ichiro stays in the game, and he is in left field. And Ben Francisco is going to pinch hit for Sam Fuld as they face the top of the order. So the Yankees bring in a lefty, and Joe Madden counters with the righty counterpart of one of the outfielders with Francisco.
Kuroda goes 6 innings, 4 runs, 8 hits, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. I haven't given you more, but I will. So here is the right-handed Francisco against the lefty Logan. And the pitch, a breaking ball strike. Logan gets out righties, too, so that's not a big thing. I mean, if he's pitching right, he gets out righties. With a right-hand hitter, Jennings, and a switcher to Zobrist up next. Bottom of the 7th, the Yanks with a 6-4 lead. Pitch, pop, foul back. And the count 0-2. You know, there have been so many games, Susan, where Kuroda has deserved the win and hasn't gotten it. But tonight, he would get the win if this score holds. Cody Epley is up in the bullpen. The Yankees need to get through this inning. This is a big inning. And they get through this inning, they go to Robertson and Soriano. Here is the 0-2. A high pop, but foul, out of play. So the count remains 0-2. Tonight's 7th inning stretch, sponsored by the BMW 7 Series. Check one out at your local Tri-State BMW Center or at tristatebmw.com.
Robertson has started his long toss. He's not up in the mound yet.
It's a 6-4 Yankee lead, bottom of the 7th inning. And the 0-2 struck him out swinging fastball. He overpowered him. So there's one away. And here is Desmond Jennings.
Tonight's injury report brought to you by Advanced Radiation Centers of New York. When it comes to fighting cancer, precision is everything. As we said, Andy Pettit threw a simulated inning today, threw 15 pitches, or maybe 15, 16 pitches, and felt fine off a mound. Faced Chris Dickerson and Eduardo Nunez, caught by Francisco Savelli. All went well.
The pitch to Jennings inside, 1-0. Here's a line on Moore. Matt Moore goes 6 1/3. 6 runs, 8 hits, 9 strikeouts, and 1 walk. And the odd thing is, the walk was a big one, just like the walk to Fold. 6-4 Yanks in the 7th, 1 out, no one on. The 1-0 is low on the count, 2-0.
Lefty Jake McGee still throwing for the Rays. Cody Epley and David Robertson throwing.
And they might use Robertson if Logan gets in trouble to get, let's say, 4 outs. There's a big game. It is inside in the count, 3-0. There's I didn't hear the scoring decision. I gave my own, so it's not official. I gave Jeter an RBI. This was a ground ball. You don't know if he's going to throw him out or not. So the error, I thought, allowed Pierce to score, but we'll check that. That's just scoring, though. I gave him an RBI. The 3-0 is low. So Jennings walks.
Well, Girardi on the phone checking down the line to see if Epley's ready. Mike Parkey just went and picked up the phone. See if we can see all that.
Zobrist, a switcher, now batting right. I think Zobrist is a little bit better righty hitter than lefty. Let me check. Yes. It's 292 from the right side, 255 from the left side, but he had a 2-run triple from the left side. He's a good hitter. The pitch to Zobrist, a breaking ball strike, in the count 0-1.
Fans come out to the stadium on Saturday, September 15th, when the Yanks take on these Rays. First 10,000 guests, 14 and younger, receive a limited edition Yankee Stadium exclusive tie Beanie Buddy, courtesy of DKNY. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com.
That'll be an 0-1 to Zobrist. Now time is called. There's a ball on the field. That's why it got loose, I guess, from the Yankee bullpen. This is a very big batter. I seem to say this every time, don't I? If Zobrist gets on, then you have Longoria. And I would think that if Logan gets Zobrist, you'll see a righty pitch to Longoria. Pitch is a breaking ball inside, the count 1-1. Yanks have a 6-4 lead. They're in the bottom of the 7th, 1 on and 1 out. That'll be a 1-1. There's a strike with a fastball. The count 1-2. In today's challenging economy, you need to work with the best. Nobody in the world sells more real estate than RE/MAX. Visit RE/MAX.com, your foreclosure and short sale experts. So it'll be a 1-2 to Zobrist. who is 1 for 3, a 2-run triple. And the pitch is Lowe's breaking ball. And the count 2-2. Logan came off the mound looking, like, why wasn't that a strike? That was a big pitch. Here's a big pitch, 2-2 to Zobrist with Evan Longoria on deck. Now the lefty is set to go. And the pitch caught out of mist. He struck him out swinging. Now let's see what the Yankees do. Here comes Girardi.
And this call of the bullpen is sponsored by 8-7. That pitching change is brought to you by the New York Lottery. Use ordinary words to win cash by playing New York Lottery's cash word scratch-off games. Well, David Robertson comes in to get this last out in the 7th inning. Fooled me for a minute because he's got his pants rolled down. I thought it was Epley, and then I saw the number.
Now here's Robertson for 4 outs. He'll get this out. The pitch to Longoria. Line. There's a base hit left field. That didn't take long.
No.
Stopping at second is Jennings. No, the tying runs are on. Here's the go-ahead run. Left-hand hitting Matt Joyce. A hard line drive by Longoria. That's why Zobrist was such a big out. If Longoria would stay healthy, he would become one of the great players in the game. He does everything well. Joyce has struck out, singled, and grounded out. So, anyway, what the Yankees want is for Robinson not just to get this out, but then get 3 more in the 8th. So the tying runs are on, and Joyce is the go-ahead run, and he's a home run hitter. Jennings off second, and Longoria off first. And Robertson deals inside the count 1-0.
Joyce is 1 for 5 with a home run off of Robertson.
And another good left-hand hitter, the guy who hit the home run earlier, Luke Scott, is on deck. This is a heck of a game. It'll be a 1-0. The pitch, there's a strike in the count 1-1.
If they had any people here, you'd think it's like a playoff game.
Yeah, it'd be if this was a playoff game, you'd think, wow, what a game. But it is true. Crowds make games in any sport. There's no one here. It'll be a 1-1 to Matt Joyce, and the pitch is Luke to shallow left. Jeter goes out, makes a great catch. Derek Jeter, just like his first game in Cleveland in '96. It was a soft lob to shallow left center. Jeter raced out, made a terrific catch, and Ichiro goes over and pounds him on the back as they trot in. Oh, boy, he saved the day again. El Capitan. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. At the end of 7 innings of play, 6-4 Yanks on the New York Yankees radio network driven by Jeep. Ben Francisco stays in the game. He goes to left, and Jennings shifts to center. Hard throwing lefty Jake McGee is in, and he'll face Russell Martin. But then Grandison, the lefty hitter, and Ichiro in Jones' spot, a lefty hitter. It was a soft little bloop to shallow left, and Jeter raced out and lunged and made the catch to end the inning. Wow. So the Yanks have a 6-4 lead here in the 8th. Russell Martin leads off and takes a strike. Martin has popped out, doubled in 2, and homered. And he has knocked in 3 of the Yankees' 6 runs. Martin, Grandison, and Ichiro. The 0-1, a fastball high. Farnsworth goes 2/3 of an inning, no runs, no hits, 1 strikeout or walk. Logan 2/3 of an inning, no runs, no hits, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. Yankees lead at 6-4. We are in the 8th. And the 1-1 caught on a missed high fastball. McGee throws very hard. That was 95 in the count 1-2. Well, tonight's Power Report sponsored by Indian Point Energy Center, the region's most reliable source of electric power. This will center on Derek Jeter, and I'll get to it in a moment. It'll be a 1-2 to Martin. And the pitch caught on a miss, struck about swinging. There's 1 away. Derek Jeter has 3 hits tonight, and he now has 182 hits for the year, and he leads the major leagues in hits. Oh, what a year he's having. Derek Jeter, 182 hits and 3 in this big game. Leading by example, stealing a base, knocking in a run, making a great catch. The captain. That's the Power Report for the night, sponsored by Indian Point Energy Center. Here's Granderson. And the pitch foul back, and the count 0-1.
You know, John, I'm glad you said that, leading by example, because there are a lot of people that think, people should be vocal. You're the captain. You should yell and do all these things. The way Derek Jeter plays on the field, that's a captain, leading by example. You're watching it. That is absolutely the example of what that means.
Agreed.
How can you not give your all when he does every single time he's out there?
The 0-1, foul back, in the count 0-2. The Yankee bullpen is quiet. Robertson will pitch the 8th, unless he runs into humongous trouble. And obviously Soriano for the 9th. So the Yankees have a great chance. Baltimore is in the bottom of the 8th in Toronto, and Toronto has a 6-2 lead. So ostensibly, if the Yankees hang on to this lead, they'll go to Baltimore, game up. And there's the 0-2. Struck him out swinging. And McGee can really throw. Well, there's 2-away. Now 2 down. Here is Ichiro.
And there's 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Baltimore scored 2 runs at 6-4. But there's 2 outs.
Okay.
Casey Jansen, come on, Casey. You can do it with your high socks.
Here's Ichiro. And the pitch hit on the ground to second. And Johnson fields and throws to first. The Yankees are retired in the 8th, 1-2-3. At the end of 7.5, 6-4 Yanks on the New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. Keppinger is 1 for 3. Yanks have a 6-4 lead, bottom of the 8th, 1 out and no one on. And the pitch, breaking ball. Did he go? Nope. No, the count 2-2. 10-second station ID on the New York Yankees radio network. It'll be a 2-2 from Robertson to Keppinger. And the pitch is low, and the count 3-2. John Sterling, Susan Waldman at Tropicana. We're in the bottom of the 8th. The Yanks have a 6-4 lead, 1 out, no one on. And Robertson has run the count full, 3-2, with the right hand hitting Jeff Keppinger. And here comes the payoff. Strike 3. I bet he's looking breaking ball. He just took a pitch right down the pipe. So there are 2 away. First strikeout for Robbie. Fans all season long, when the Yankees score 6 or more runs and win, Papa John's will offer 50% off regular menu prices at papajohns.com all day tomorrow. Use promo code Yankees6.
Oh, and John said there was a big right-hander in the pen for Tampa Bay. He was talking literally. That's Dane De La Rosa, big, tall right-hander. He's 6'7", so he is a big right-hander.
Well, 2 outs. Here is B.J. Upton, a right-hand hitter. Robertson an out away from getting out of the 8th. And the pitch is low on the count, 1-0.
Soriano is warming up. Ryan Roberts is on deck to pinch hit for Elliott Johnson.
And there's the 1-0. There's a strike. Well, I'm surprised. Let's say that Upton gets on. Wouldn't you use Pena to try to tie the game?
Well, maybe you will.
Oh, could be. Roberts a right-hand hitter, Pena a left-hand hitter. Robertson ready to deal 1-1 to BJ. And the pitch low on the count, 2-1.
You know, it's interesting. I'm trying to think of what the difference is defensively for this Rays team. One, Pena hasn't been playing a lot because he isn't hitting at all. So without him at first base, that's a big loss. Longoria didn't play half the year, so he's out.
The 2-1 cut on him. I think that's a big loss, too.
Yep.
Then you mentioned that Elliot Johnson's made a lot of errors, and he's played a lot of shortstop. You know, Sean Rodriguez didn't play well.
And Sean Rodriguez now has a broken hand, so he's not here. He didn't hit either, but he's a good defender. And you know who the big key was, who didn't hit at all, and they couldn't keep him, was Reed Brignac.
The 2-2 is low. Yes, he's a very good shortstop. So the count 3-2 on Upton.
So if you've got Longoria, Brignac, Rodriguez, and Pena, that's very different than what's been out there all year.
It'll be a 3-2 to Upton. Ball 4 would send up the tying run. Robertson deals the payoff. Swung on a high pop. Foul. First base out, going to be over the Yankee dugout in the crowd. Well, the count holds at 3-2. Now, once again, it'll be a 3-2 to Upton. And the pitch is, he struck him out swinging. Fastball up. 3 up, 3 down at the end of 8. 6-4 Yanks on the Yankees radio network, driven by.
Well, the new pitcher for the Rays is Wade Davis, who was a starter, has spent all of the year in the pen, done a very nice job. 2-0, 2.33 ERA, 58 innings pitched, 42 hits, so a lot less hits than innings pitched, 15 earned runs, given up 5 home runs, 24 walks, and 63 strikeouts. Also a big, tall right-hander. He's 6'5".
Well, the Yanks are an inning away from reclaiming first base. They would have a 1-game lead over Baltimore, going into Baltimore for 4. Well, they got to get through this inning. Here's Eric Chavez with a right-hander on the mound. He's going to hit for Pierce. And the pitch is high. And the count 1-0. So Chavez hits for Pierce. Pierce had a big hit. He contributed a big hit when the Yankees scored 2 to take the lead in the 7th. Chavez swings and misses, the count 1-1.
And Wade Davis started him off with 2 fastballs, 95 and 94. Wade Davis was the odd man out when Jeff Neiman made the rotation out of spring training.
Here's the 1-1. Cut on a miss, threw it by him. Now the count 1-2.
And when Neiman got hurt and went out early May, the Rays decided to keep him in the pen and bring up Alex Cobb. And Davis was not happy about it at the beginning, but said, I kind of like it out there.
Now here's the 1-2. He struck him out, swinging one away.
Threw them all fastballs, 94, 95, and 96.
That is the 13th strikeout by Tampa pitching. Here's Jason Nix. With 1 out, no one on. Top of the 9th, the Yanks have a 6-4 lead. Nix, a right-hand hitter, 0 for 2, and had a sacrifice to move the runners up when they scored the 2. Pitches, strikes. It was 4-4 in the 7th. Jones singled. Ichiro ran for him. Pierce singled. Nix bunted him along. Infield came in. Jeet hit a ground ball to second, and Elliot Johnson threw the ball away, and both runs scored, and that's the difference in the game. 6-4 Yanks in the 9th. The 0-1 is pop foul. First base out of play, and the count 0-2. Baltimore has been beaten in Toronto 6-4. And Rafael Soriano is up in the Yankee bullpen down the left field line. Here's the 0-2. He struck him out swinging, and they're at 2 in.
And he cut that fastball. He's been throwing 94, 95, and 96, and his cutter is at 90. And the cutter just moves a little bit away. Oh, boy.
Great pitch.
Wow. We just saw that close up in slow motion. What a pitch.
The cutter does not move as much or have the depth of a slider, but it's slider-like. I mean, it really has to do with finger pressure on the ball, and boy, that ball moved like most.
Yeah.
Well, 2A, here's Jeter. Derek has 3 hits tonight. He and Russell Martin are the stars. Martin has a 2-run double and a home run to knock in 3 of the runs. And Jeter takes a strike.
So he's got 2 singles, a double, a stolen base, an RBI, and a run scored. It's a nice night. And a catch that was unbelievable.
Catch, yeah. The 0-1, foul, first base out of play.
You know that catch you were talking about against Cleveland in 1996? It's only 16 years ago.
And he's still making
He's
them.
still doing it.
Jeter steps out for a moment. And now digs back in. It'll be an 0-2. And the 0-2 is low on the count 1-2.
You know, it's amazing perception. Before this game, you'd hear people around here saying, writers in Tampa and everything, boy, your team just looks so old. They don't look old tonight, though, do they?
Boy, scoring runs really helps.
Something?
It really does. Here's the 1-2. Foul, first base out of play. If you want to look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, Soriano will face a pinch hitter, undoubtedly a pinch hitter for Johnson. And then Francisco and Jennings. So Johnson, a switch hitter. Francisco and Jennings, right-hand hitters, will be the first 3 hitters. And there probably will be some pinch hitters. Here's the 1-2. Struck him out swinging. So Davis comes in and strikes out the side. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Yanks have a 6-4 lead on the Yanks radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, the Yankees' next game will be in Baltimore, and if Soriano can get through the 9th, well, the Yankees will go into Baltimore a game up. We'll be on the air at 6:30 with the pregame and 7:05 with the play-by-play. That's tomorrow night, the first of 4 in Baltimore. Fairly big games, I think you'd say. And we'll be on the air at 6:30 pregame, 7:05 play-by-play. Sponsored by London Jewelers on Long Island, serving you and your family since 1926. Now here are the Yankee changes. Swisher comes in from right field to first base. Curtis Dickerson goes to left field, and Ichiro switches to right field. Now the Yankees have Rodriguez at third, Jeter at second, Jeter at short, Nix at second, and Swisher at first. Dickerson in left, Grandison in center, and Ichiro in right. Russell Martin catches Rafael Soriano, and Carlos Pena comes up to hit for Johnson. And that's not an odd thing, even though he's a home run hitter. He also walks a lot, and Tampa needs 2 runs, and the pitch is caught on a miss. Pena, a very low average hitter, but he does walk, and that's what Tampa needs. They need a base runner. So it'll be Pena as the leadoff hitter, and he is hitting for Elliott Johnson. The Yankees have a great defensive outfield. Joe has put together Dickerson, Grandison, and Ichiro, and Swisher's a very good first baseman. 3 infielders on the right side for Pena, and the 0-1 is high on the count 1-1. So they want Pena. Yeah, they'd love him to hit it out, make it 6-5, but they'd love him to walk, and then every batter thereafter would be the tying run. Yanks have a 6-4 lead in one of those vital pennant race kind of games. It'll be a 1-1 to Pena. And Soriano deals, swung on and foul back, and the count 1-2. Pena takes a moment out of the box. Now he digs back in. The right-hander Soriano is set, and he deals breaking ball, the slider low. And the count 2-2. Robertson went an inning and a third, no runs, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, no walks. Soriano dips and now goes to the short wind, and the 2-2 swung on a high pop off third. A-Rod going toward foul territory is there, makes the catch, 1 away. It's not as easy as you think. They have an oatmeal covered roof, and he had to run a long way, and if you take your eye off the ball, you're sunk. The ball blends into this roof. Now, A-Rod made a nice play, and there's 1 down. And now here is Ben Francisco, a right-hand hitter. Now the Yankees are 2 outs away. 6-4 Yanks, bottom of the 9th. 1 out, no one on. A-Rod comes in at third to guard against the bunt. Swisher plays way wide of first. And the pitch to Francisco, there's a slider strike, and the count 0-1. Francisco struck out in his only at bat. In a righty-lefty switch, he batted for Fold a couple of innings ago. That'll be an 0-1. And Soriano deals low in the count 1-1. Another slider. Now Soriano gets the sign from Martin. There's the 1-1. Swung on a fly ball to right center. Grandison on the run, makes the catch, and there are 2 away. Here's Desmond Jennings. He's 1 for 3 and a walk. He's a right-hand hitter. And it's a pretty big hitter because Zobrist is an awfully good hitter and has home run power. And then after Zobrist comes Longoria. So the Yankees are 1 out away. And they jump back into first place by a game. 2 outs, no one on, bottom of the 9th. 6-4 Yanks. And Soriano deals a fastball high in the count 1-0. Now here's Soriano's 1-0. There's a strike. Now the count 1-1 on Desmond Jennings. 2 outs, no one on, bottom of the 9th. And the Yankees with a 6-4 lead. They're 1 out away. And Soriano deals low outside in the count 2-1. A very big batter, because if he gets on, then Zobrist is the tying run. And the Yankees would like to stay away from that. And that'll be a 2-1 to Jennings. Swung on a high fly to center. Grandison back. He's on the track near the wall. He makes the catch. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win. Curtis Grandison went back within a step of the center field wall to make the catch. And up to this moment, that's the biggest win of the year for the Yankees. There'll be a lot more because there's 26 games remaining and the Yankees have about a 1-game lead. But for now, this will suffice. A terrific win And the Yankees will now fly off to Baltimore in a much better mood. The Orioles lost. Now the Yankees have a 1-game lead going into Baltimore 4-4. And their lead over Tampa is 3 on the loss side. Now, you know, we'll keep it here and wait for Susan to get her star. A very, very exciting win, a thrilling win here at the Trop. Now, Susan is awaiting, and she gets her star. Down on the field we go. The star of the game is sponsored by Poland Spring, the official bottled water of the New York Yankees. Now, down on the field we go to Susan Waldman and Susan Starr.
Okay, John.
Okay, Susan, I thank you, and we'll get back with the totals in a moment. The Yankees hit 1 home run tonight, and it brings their season total to 204. Russell Martin hit it. And for every home run the Yankees hit this year, your local Hyundai dealers donate $100 to the Hope and Heroes Foundation. The season total stands at $20,400. All right, back with the totals in a moment. Here on the New York Yankees Radio Network, driven by Jeep. Okay, we're back at Tropicana. The Yankees win an ultra-exciting game by the score of 6-4. Here are the totals. For the Yanks, 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors, they left 4. And for Tampa Bay, 4 runs, 9 hits, 1 error, they left 7. Hiroki Kuroda wins it. He is 13-10. And the lefty Matt Moore loses. He is 10-9. Rafael Soriano gets his 36th save. 36 out of 39. He's had a terrific year, and it ain't over yet. And the Yankees win at 6-4. With the victory, the Yankees go to 77-59, and they lead Baltimore by 1 game in the American League East. And Tampa drops to 75-62. The attendance, we were right. It was less than last night. They drew 16,711. The time of the game, 3 hours and 9 minutes. And once again, the final score, the Yankees 6 and Tampa Bay 4. New York Yankees baseball is a production of WCBS News Radio 880 and the New York Yankees. Tim Shell. Now stay tuned for the postgame. We'll have highlights, scoreboard, sounds of the game, and Susan Waldman's Clubhouse Report. All coming up next on the Yankees Radio Network, driven by Jeep.
You've been listening to the 2012 New York Yankees on the Yankees Radio Net Challenges. Foxwoods, anything but ordinary. Your tri-state for life. Help ensure your family's financial future is safe and secure. Contact your local New York Life Insurance Company agent or visit them at newyorklife.com. New York Yankees baseball on the Yankees Radio Network.
Doritos on the outside, Taco Bell on the inside.